Ancient Greece and the Acropolis and physical security, they share a lot of common ground. Mike, in K12, this is a really important thing. Can you share why freedom and choice on systems and being interoperable is so important for K12 customers?
Absolutely, and us being in Greece right now is very appropriate. Right?
Very appropriate.
So what we're doing is we're looking at the layered approach to security because it began with the ancient Greeks, the ancient Romans, the ancient Egyptians. You know, you look at a castle, you got your city walls, you've got all these barriers in place, the moat for the castle, you've got the drawbridge. There's so many layers to what they put together. So what happened from there is it went over to the military. It was a military thing. And now modern day military, of course, they've been using it since inception, but modern day military just enhances that. And then from that military, it went over to corporate America, you know, to the universities. And K12, securing our most precious assets, is now utilizing the layered approach to security. And it makes a lot of sense because in past K12, the Partner Alliance for Safer Schools, which we're part of, HID is a huge sponsor of, Mercury as well, that's what we promote.
So the amazing thing with this is the Acropolis, in ancient times, it had this layered approach by default. It sat up really high above the city, above Athens. It had a couple of paths going up. They built walls to protect it. So we get this layered approach. That path is put in place for K12 as best practices. But in ancient Greece, they did this a long time ago. But the really cool thing about all of this is the Acropolis was able to evolve over time and change. So if they needed more protection, they could build a higher wall or they could change security. But they didn't tear down the Acropolis every time. They had the ability to evolve. They put their infrastructure in place and then that adapted as it needed.
Exactly. And what we have done in modern times, especially in K12, is we've kind of put the layers in place, right? And if one layer fails, the next one takes over. That's kind of how that approach goes, right? It's a fail-safe. In the military, they called it defense in depth. Sometimes we call it peeling the onion. That right there, and the way that is put into the school is usually people, process, and technology, right? Because you can have the most expensive doors, right? You can have the Asa Abloy full indicator lock set and the frames and the hardware to match. What you will get is you will get a product-driven approach that has no people or process behind it. I've been to a school where I say, hey, you know what? You're in love with your doors. You're in love with all the things that you have put into your school, and so am I. It is an amazing layer. But let me show you these people. Let me show you the people layer, and I'll go over there and I'll knock on the door, and one child in the classroom will open the door. So there's your layer. It's strong. The interesting part is it's the final layer. It's the layer that's closest to the assets. Just like a bank has their assets behind their safe, schools have their assets behind that classroom door. Very important component. The door itself. You know, some people ask me, hey, Mike, when I leave here, what do you suggest I do in my school? And I say LYFD.
LYFD.
Lock your freaking doors.
I love it.
And basically it's that simple sometimes. But the people part of this is you see a door that's not locking correctly. Like my hotel room door here in the hotel. It sticks. I have to push it. We have to see something, say something, do something, right? And that's the approach. That's what helps those layers thrive is the people and the processes behind the technologies that we'll put in those layers. Because every layer has some component of access, video, and alarms throughout. Those are your foundational components of security.
Let's shift from layers and let's talk about choice with access control and the freedom to change if you need to. And specifically Mercury, since we're on the Mercury minute, let's talk about Mercury, right? So why is an open architecture solution that gives customers the ability to change, why is this so important for K12?
You said it earlier when you said, hey, when they want to make a change, they can make that change. It's freedom of choice, right? So when you talk about access control, I shift the message to the school control. So we're controlling our doors. It's command, contain, control, and communications in a unified environment. You can see everything that's connected. It's open, it's flexible, it's scalable. All of that means nothing until you can have the right solution that unifies with third-party products, correct? So those third-party products now say, hey, school, we're going to utilize your current investments in technology by utilizing this Mercury board, this Mercury panel in your infrastructure. And now you're going to be able to utilize those. We're going to bring them in, open SDK, open API, freedom. And you will never be held hostage again.
Yeah, that's when we look at the opposite of what Mercury is. We're talking fully proprietary systems, right, where they own the full stack and they provide a unified solution, which the solution is probably honestly pretty great, but it's more long-term in my opinion, where
But if you think about the entire spectrum of security and safety, what security is about? Single point of failure.
that's a single point of
You
failure.
do not want to have a single point of
Yeah.
failure. You want to be flexible and scalable, but you also want to say, hey, I have control of my access control
Yeah.
of my entire security system. And their foundational components, access, video, alarms,
Yeah.
right? And we utilize all three. PA systems, absolute necessity. Those unify in there too, a unified life safety system. But the most important thing is being able to say, hey, software for access control. Yes, I like this. I tried them all. I like this one. This is what we're going with. It's fit for purpose.
Yeah.
And we're going to use this in our school. If something happens to that vendor, if something happens to that manufacturer, and they go bankrupt, sell, go public, something happens that is an event that can change the entire focus and direction of that company, you're safe.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and that's pretty scary because if that happens, what is the most expensive part of an access control solution? And
Hardware.
typically it's the hardware that goes on the wall.
Yep.
And I know you've seen K12 customers where they've invested many years ago in a proprietary system and they're so stuck right now and they just have no ability to change because it's going to be a multi-million-dollar project to replace all of that.
And you see that now, and it's almost like, I've been doing this for many years, and it's almost like the dog caught the car, right? The dog's been chasing that car for decades, finally caught it. What are you going to do with it, right? What are you going to do with that car? So that's where the schools are right now.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
You've helped me many times go to these school districts and say, hey, listen, this is where you need to go. This is what you've invested in already. This is how we're going to take those current investments in security and safety and utilize them. And this is where, from this point on, anything that you buy for your school district will communicate with each other, and it'll be a true unification platform, right? And it won't just be odds and ends and, oh, we can't do that and we can't. It's everything before you buy it. When you do your proof of concept, will be on a Mercury system, and that's what's going to give you that level playing field for command and control across your district. Doesn't matter how big the district is, or how many students, or how many employees. Mercury scales to the biggest school districts in the United States. We're New York City, Los Angeles, Chicago, Detroit, Miami-Dade, all Mercury, all able to say, hey, I can command, contain, control, and communicate at any given time with any campus location. And guess what? My traveling classrooms now have a little bit of advantage too, because my buses now have the ability to communicate into that ecosystem. What do you do about your football games, your graduations, your track meets? All covered. I've even put drones on the system and allowed those drones to be a real-time risk management system for those types of threats. So it's very interesting, the things that you can accomplish. And I know some schools are probably using 20, 30% of the capabilities. That's what their vendors are for. Put the pressure on the vendors. Put the pressure on the software and the hardware companies to give your school what it needs, when it needs it, and be able to scale so when you grow, it grows with you.
So if you were to leave people watching one or two important items, what would those be? What are the most important things?
I would say security is people. People are behind every one of these layers, right?
Yeah.
So the people and the process and the technology in that order are the way to go. With school districts, now you have to add behavioral intervention, the mental health components, right? Yeah. Creating an environment where kids do not use violence to express their emotions. That right there, in itself, can be put into your unified life safety system, and you can monitor that and manage it in the software, and you actually now have mental health, school hardening, and emergency security operation planning reunification. And when you inject mobile credentials into that equation, now whenever there is an event in the school and your doors are numbered on the first responder door numbering system, you're able to go with pinpoint accuracy exactly where the threat is happening. Now you have your command and control system, you number your doors and you say, hey, dispatch is now giving the directions, right? And it says, hey, enter the south side of the building. We have eyes on it. Door number 3, take a right, and door number 16 is where the student is choking on a gumdrop. The math teacher is having a heart attack, or we have an active shooter event. Sure. And now everything comes in the way it's supposed to be, and you practice like you fight. You're doing this the right way, beginning with the end in mind.
What I'll do, I think it's important for people to understand the past guidelines. So I'll put a QR code down at the bottom here, and that will take us straight to the past guidelines. If you're not familiar with that, you should be. Many
think-
of you probably are familiar with it, but you should be.
And now there's really, Jeremy, this is a great segment, being here at the global sales meeting for HID and being in this amazing city. But we can't forget that when all of this comes together, we have to look for help. We have to look for the experts in the field. And between passk12.org, zeronow.org, which has the path to safer schools, and then the ASIS Safe Schools Standards, which takes from PASS as a baseline and just added to it, right?
Yeah.
So these three components are, well, ASIS is going to be your code. You're going to have something to point to and say, we have mandates now. They're coming. Right now, the North Star is PASS K12. Your guidelines are what are driving you. But when you do use those guidelines to provide the layers and the safety and security in your school, then when the mandates do come up and the requirements and regulations do come up, you're ready.
Mike, I love your passion. You are the most dedicated person when it comes to K-12, and the safety
a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, man.
of all of our students and young kids. So I think the whole community thanks you for that, and appreciate you being here in Athens. And I think we'll get a tour of the Acropolis today, and we'll get to see all of their layered approaches.
I think I'm going on a bike.
And, oh, you're going on a bike. I'm going to the Acropolis. So I'll wave at you. From,
you'll be able to see me.
Yeah, I'll know where you are. So great. Thanks,
Thank
Mike.
you. Yes, sir. Anytime.